going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I just watched a movie called Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Shouldn't that be amongst? I'll check in a minute, okay? Starring Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and Justice Smith. That's a cool name. I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty cool name. Sorry. That's a pretty cool name. All right. First of all. Now, we've done a lot of the, or a few of the video game adaptation lists on this thing before, right? Well, now it's time for the board game adaptations. All right. Why? Because the movie calls for it. The movie calls for this exactly. All right. So in 1985, Clue came out. All right. This is your old run-of-the-mill whodunit game right here, right? They got the knife in the kitchen. They got the book in the attic. They got the iron board in the basement, whatever. All these items that they could have killed this person with or whatever. Murder. It's a murder mystery. All right. And you got to solve it. And I played this game before a long time ago. Not a bad game. It's okay. It's okay. When it comes to the movie, I can't remember one actor in this movie. And I've watched this movie. I saw it. I can't remember one actor from this. Now, don't forget, this came out in 1985. I was born in 1982. So you do the math of why I can't remember this. All right. I have to rewatch this. All right. Okay. Then in 1995, Jumanji came out. Now, that was a game changer for sure. All right. It was the board game that just told everybody this is it. This is the movie we needed. All right. It was so good. First of all, hold on. Let me back up here. Newsflash, maybe just for me, but I had no idea. I had no earthly idea that this was a board game, then a movie. Okay, I had no idea this was actually a real board game. All right, the whole time I thought that these people actually were creative and were thinking, man, let's create this entire board game just for the film. They'll love it, and the board game comes alive. This has never been done before. This board game is completely new. Nobody's ever heard it. No, it's actually been in the market long before the movie came out. All right, so I was in the dark on that one. Maybe, just maybe, some other people were too, but I had no idea. And then there were sequels that came out after this. They can't hold a candle, a torch of any sort to the original, to the Robin Williams experience. Rest in peace to that man. If I haven't said that enough already, I don't know, but rest in peace to him. Okay. 2012, Battleship came out. I have a few issues with this, maybe more than a few. All right. First of all, this movie had Rihanna in it. Not saying Rihanna is a bad actress, but the only movies I know her from, or she's the same person every damn time. Okay, she never switches that up. Great music, a fantastic artist. Just she is the same person when she acts. So that turned me off from the movie. Not only that, there's also that guy that made the Transformer movies. Yeah, he's over this too. He's over that. So that's Mark 2 for that. Then Mark 3 is you made a movie about a game called Battleship. The You Sank My Battleship game. That's the movie you made. You know that this idea is so generic. This is a generic idea that's been done before. Better, probably. Better than that. Easily. You just were trying to score off of that game. The revenue markup, whatever you call that. You were trying to get all that money that was going to come in from making a movie into, from a game like this. That's all you were trying to do. Okay? I don't think that worked too well. Then in 2014, Ouija came out. Now, I'll be not the first to say this, obviously, but I'm going to join that rank. I'm going to say I'll never in my life play this game. Never. I don't want to see things that are not supposed to be there. I don't want to hear things that are not supposed to hear. I don't want people trying to mess with my head, making me believe that that board piece is moving by itself and that they're not moving it. I don't want any of that. I don't. So I'll never do that game, okay? But the movie, the movie is exactly what you expect. Just think about what you think a Ouija movie would be about, and you get that. Not too much, not too little. It's right in the middle. So you really don't have to rush to see this. You don't. I wouldn't. Okay? It's just okay. And now we're going to get to a certain part of the list where I'm going to put some entries in of board games that should be movies. Maybe a pitch to Hollywood, if you may. First one, Magic the Gathering. We used to play this in high school. My friends used to play this in high school. I would just watch or I would hear about it. Okay? And, this is what we had, our version of Dungeons and Dragons, because Dungeons and Dragons was out for a long, long time. All right. But in high school, we had Magic. All right. And yes, it's a card game, but still, you have the characters, the creatures that when you attack the other creature, if their power level was more, that creature's gone. If your power level was evened up, no damage taken. No damage done at all. All right. Now, that's just a simple part of that. There's a lot more to it, of course. But like I said, I never played the game at all. All right. But I can so see this as a movie. It has the foundation there. The foundation is already laid. All right. With games like this, it's almost too easy to make movies out of. You have the whole fantasy lore there. You have the creatures. Everything is right there for you. Okay. You just have to create it. Another entry, Operation. Now, I hope it's obvious by now that I'm playing around about that one. Okay. Matter of fact, Hollywood, do not make this a movie. That's just my PSA for this. Hollywood just has this bad habit of whatever was popular, no matter what, they're going to try to adapt it to something. Don't, not this one. What would you do with this? As a kid, I had bad nerves. I could not take this game. I couldn't. I could not take that at all. All right. So as a movie, what would you do? It's going to be a horror, right? That's the only way you can play that, as it was a horror movie. And they're doing these horrible operations on this body and throughout the whole movie, like a torture. But it's doctors operating on this guy for no reason. That's as far as I can get. Other than that, I don't know how it's going to work. But you might not want to go that route. Okay. Then my last entry is Let's Summon Demons. This is fairly new. Well, it's new for me. I'm sorry. A lot of you other people probably already knew about this, and I'm the only idiot that didn't know. But it's an actual game. All right. I used to walk in the mall and they would have shirts on the wall that would have these pictures on it of this game. I thought it was just some creative shirts. Turns out it's an actual game that you play at the house. Okay. Now I've seen this game played. You summon 3 demons and you collect 10 souls. If I'm wrong, correct me. That's all I got from that. I think I have to actually play the game to get it, but I can so see this being a movie. All the elements are there. Like I said earlier, the foundation has been laid. It just takes a creative mind to put this together and make it a film. All right. And now we have Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. And my question for you is, will this movie be as good as the other or half of the board games that I've mentioned a while ago? We're about to find out. Let's go. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. For those who don't know, for those who are not aware, Shame on you, man. If you don't know about this by now, as many times as they've showed that repetitive trailer, you need to be thrown in a dungeon. And every day you get up and you have to beg for your freedom, knowing you're not going to get it. Constantly, continuously. Okay? Like they kind of did in this movie. Because, no, don't play me. You're penalized. You are penalized for that. All right? Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. It's pretty much about this guy named Edgin. All right? He used to be a part of this group called the Harpers, which was peacemakers. All right? Peacekeepers, I'm sorry. Who are like cops now. Right? And he was trying to take this sorceress into custody. But that didn't work out too well. All right. And everybody in that whole place got frozen up except for half his crew, which were able to escape. And so, of course, when he unfroze, he decided he was going to become a thief instead. And then something bad happened to his wife along the way. And now he was on a journey to get a certain elixir that would bring his wife back to life. He got caught while he was doing his thieving with his friend Olga, played by Michelle Rodriguez. And then he had to beg the council to, pardon him. He came up with some kind of concocted idea that when a certain person got there, they were going to use that person to escape. Not going to say how that happened. All right. You need to watch that. And then when they escaped, he continued his mission to find the rest of his crew and get that elixir. All right. Now, on the way, he finds one of his crew members is now the lord of a certain town. And the way that they got that lordship was kind of shady, a little shady. And now he's also guardian over his daughter. And he's feeding his daughter all these bad ideas about this guy. All right. And this guy is made some stumbling blocks in the way of his path to his mission. All right. And he has to deal with this entire situation. And that's pretty much the premise of the movie. Okay. Positives. The humor in this movie was very quick-witted. All right. I enjoyed all that. I always enjoy some humor like that, as long as it's not overdone. It almost was, but then it was done tastefully, unlike other movies. Yeah. So, yeah, it was done tastefully. There's a certain scene in this movie where they have to raise the dead, so to speak, in order to investigate. And it makes more sense when you actually watch the movie. But they are only given 5 questions to ask these zombies, and then the zombies become dead again. All right. So trying to just to get that right the entire time was so hilarious. That was funny. It was funny to see them struggle with this spell. And just think of all the things that could go wrong trying to do this. All right. And you get that. All right. Oh, hilarious. Hilarious. Second positive. The effects were just right. What I mean by that, it wasn't too much CGI. Then at the same time, it wasn't underdone. It wasn't like really cheesy, corny practical effects. It was this mixture of just great things going on with the special effects. Okay, there was a certain scene where a sorceress or sorcerer, I forgot which one that was bringing up the dead, rising the dead up. All right, with their powers, and there was this red smoke just filling the entire area. It looked so cool. It looked awesome. All right. It looked absolutely just crazy. And I enjoyed that. There are certain scenes where the CGI or whatever was getting a little but then it pulled itself right back into awesomeness. And I enjoyed all of that. I enjoyed every part of that. All right. Another positive. This had the old school fantasy feel. What I mean by that is that back in the 90s, a lot of the fantasy type movies, they all had the same look, which I guess that wouldn't be good now because you want something different. But back in the day, it was that same look they had. It's from the Robin Hood Men in Tights. Well, no, not that version. Robin Hood, the Robin Hood movies. All right. And other fantasy type movies like the one that they're making at Willow. that they have the show. That it reminded me of those movies. It reminded me of all. It took me back actually. Here's that nostalgia thing working again. All right, because it definitely had that. And there's another movie. It also kind of took the serious version of. All right, which is Your Highness, which is a very interesting movie, which I won't talk about right now. All right, but it reminded me of what if they took that serious. Okay, and it definitely played that part. And why? You actually have to watch Your Highness first, and then watch this, and you'll get what I'm saying. All right, with the creatures and the magic and everything that goes on with your fantasy scenery. It was all there. It was all there in this movie. I loved that. I loved every part of that. Okay, my last positive for this. The last battle was extremely epic. Now, let me put this in perspective. First of all, the fight scenes in general in this movie weren't that fantastic. They weren't that great. All right, they were just mediocre, and I'll talk about that later on a little more. But for that last battle, it was everything I wanted, everything you could want from the characters they have in here. The battle just complemented everything that each character could do. All right, so everybody played their part. Everybody got their licks in. All right. And it some parts didn't make sense, but hell, I was having fun watching that. Okay, especially the part where you see the final villain go against the sorcerer kid, and he finally, gets a hold of his powers, because he was not in really good control of his powers throughout the entire movie. Okay, but then by the end of that movie, he has mastered his whole thing, and he was going to swinging. He was swinging at that villain. I can't say who the villain is. That's what's throwing me off. I can't say who the final fight is. All right, but he was doing his thing with that. He was handling his. He handled up. All right, as a true sorcerer on that last battle, and I was proud. I was proud, like it was my son or something. All right, I was proud of that. Okay. Kudos to that. Kudos to that last fight scene. Seriously. Negatives. Like I was talking about just right now, the action scenes were mediocre at best. Okay. Despite that last scene, every time they had a fight scene, it's something that you see from another movie, another battle. Like it's nothing special about these fights. It's what you expect from a fantasy movie of swords and knights and, sorcerers and creatures, mythological creatures and whatnot, stuff like that. It's everything you expect already. All right. There were no special moves that they did or weird or crazy fancy moves they did in the movie that was like, oh man, look what he just did there. I never seen that in a movie. No, nothing like that. It was so generic. It was so 1, 2, 3 by the book that I don't know why the fighting choreographer didn't try a little harder on, just directing these moves. Okay, it was underwhelming. It was quite underwhelming at that part. All right. Another negative. This movie was highly predictable. All right. I hate to say this, but there are so many parts where you see a certain character's reaction and you just know that something bad is going to happen a little later on, or something is about to happen. And I did this 4 times. My powers were blazing. My powers were strong in this one. Okay. I was reading those. I was reading it every time. Like I just mentioned with the friend that became the Lord and by Hugh Grant. You mentioned earlier that he's a con artist. Why would you trust a con artist? I would not have a con artist in my group, but they were a group of thieves. I understand that. I understand. But still, would you, if you're in trouble and you couldn't move and you're being frozen by some kind of power, would you then trust the words of your con artist friend to be like, yeah, I'll come back and get you. Yeah, I mean, I got you. No worries, dude. I got you, man. No, don't sweat it. I'll come back and we'll rescue. Yeah, man. Oh man, I surely trusted in that con artist friend to come back for me. I really trusted him. Hell, anybody in that group, you are a group of thieves. You are a group of thieves. There are no honor amongst who? No. Once again, no. So why be so shocked and surprised when somebody does you wrong in the worst way possible? Okay. And there are other things that happened within the movie that were just highly predictable as well. Things that took place with the daughter, and just certain plots in the film that were like, okay, I know what's going to happen now. Easy. You don't even have to have the powers to do it. All right. My last negative. The character development in this movie was so weak. All right. You have 4 characters to follow throughout this entire movie as your protagonist. None of these characters were done right, except maybe the lead one, because that's the one you're focused on strongly. Okay, not even Olga was done right. Okay, I didn't care about Olga, and there's certain scenes you're supposed to care about her a lot. I didn't. The little changeling, the shapeshifter, didn't do her right. Not enough lines. Maybe the sorcerer guy, he was done okay, but other than that, no. And so I gotta give this an I cool. Yes, an I cool. You just could have done a lot of things a little better. Well, not a lot of things, actually. Just 1 or 2 things that could have been tweaked a little bit. And this could have been an awesome movie. Guarantee you. Press that like button, share, and you better subscribe.